Something from like the Mad Hatter or something with that particular. What did you think? You can tell by my question what I think.
No, I actually can't. I don't know.
I was underwhelmed.
Really?
I was. I just felt, I mean, so here's the problem. I never know if I'm underwhelmed because of the show or because of the performance, right? Sometimes I'm not sure, was it just a weak performance or was it a weak show?
So right now, we just went live on Facebook, and everyone on Facebook is hearing this conversation as
and
our
I can't,
services.
thank you, yes.
Which
and
is why starting at 7 o'clock
I've fixed it for future.
Awesome. Just letting you know.
It was too late for me to fix it for tonight. So.
Fair enough. I just wanted you to know that was the entree to Shabbat for our Facebook friends. Which isn't a bad thing, but probably didn't do it. Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you. What?
What's the difference between Shabbat and Shabbos?
It's just different pronunciation. That's it, right? Yeah. Ashkenazi. Yeah. Well, I mean, in Hebrew, it's exactly the same. It's just pronounced differently. And in English, obviously, but they have different languages. But they're in the wrong way. Oh, yeah.
That's so funny. What?
Hi, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Everyone online, can you hear me okay? Yes? Thumbs up, thumbs down? I'm getting nothing.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Lie, lie,
Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Can everyone hear me okay? Is this okay? Good. So, this Shabbat, we continue in this month of Elul, this month of soul searching, this month of reflection, this month of working on our relationships with one another and within ourselves. And so we're beginning this Shabbat service with some more contemplative Shabbat melodies, getting us in the mood for what we hope will be a day of rest and reflection and perhaps meditation and sanctity. Before we do, we turn to the candle lighting on page 121, and I'd love to invite up Shelley to lead the candle lighting in honor of Al's yahrzeit. Page 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Read that?
Sure, go ahead.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Shelley, for beginning our service with light as we reflect on the light that Al brought to so many people's lives. During the month of Elul, there is a practice of singing Psalm 27, or saying and reading Psalm 27 every day. And perhaps the most famous line within this psalm is Achat Sha'alti. One thing I've asked all the days of my life, it says, to behold the graciousness of the Eternal One and enter God's sanctuary. And we might ask, what does it mean to enter God's sanctuary? Aren't we always within God's heavenly abode? But I believe that our entering is not meant to describe entering a physical place, though the one we're in is certainly beautiful and holy. The psalm refers to our state of mind, our openness, our willingness to enter the sanctity of the moment. So tonight we will sing this psalm as our people have for millennia. Tonight as we enter Shabbat, we allow Shabbat to enter us.
אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש, אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש, שבתי שבתי בבית אדוני, שבתי לבקר בהיכלו, לחזות בנועם Adonai, to gaze upon the beauty of Adonai. אחת שאלתי בית אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש, אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש. כל הנשמה תהלל יה, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלל יה, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלל יה,
We turn to page 138, welcoming in the Sabbath bride.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבורך, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, זאת נעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, אמורני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Please rise.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
And now that we are standing and we welcome to the Sabbath bride, let's turn to one another and greet one another with Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Now that we've greeted one another, we turn to our Baruch Hu, our call to worship, page 146.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. לעולם ועד. יא לה 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 לה, 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 יא לה 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 לה ya la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'arif aravim בחוכמה פותח שערים. God of creation, who makes the evening fall from light into darkness with the setting of the sun, who unfold the heavens with brilliant moon and stars and wrap our souls with peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim בחוכמה פותח שערים. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים.
On page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me, did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. 152, Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Crossing the sea. Eternal, watch over my small domain of light and shadow, those few people who share my love and all others upon this earth, that sometimes shakes with thunder and reverberates with lightning. Help us to live with fear and conquer rage. Heal the hate that makes us kill and covers the ground with this Red Sea that only you can part. So may we all walk through the wilderness to your realm of peace, where all men and women are one, and sing your blessed name. On page 158, we continue with Mi Chamocha.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, osefele. מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה. מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. זה לי ענו ועמדו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם, לעולם ועד. יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 והרכיב את אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני. יאללה לי לי לה לי לי יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי לי לה לי לי יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי לי לה לי לי יאללה לי 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 לעל ישראל. I find at this time of year, this month of Elul, that the words of Hashkivenu speak even deeper to me. For as we prepare for the coming Yamim Noraim, the days of awe, we only pray that everyone should be able to feel that awe, should be able to feel the safety and the comfort and be able to pray as we are blessed to be able to do here. If only there were love and understanding among all of us in this world, then truly peace and friendship would be the shelter that we all seek. Understanding among us, let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us, let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, Beshalom, Ve'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu lechayim, Ufros aleinu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Page 162. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam. Berit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam. K'sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinaflash Shabbat, Shabbat vayinafash. Shabbat, Shabbat
We turn to page 164 as I invite you to rise in body or spirit for the Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please continue through page 181 or with the prayers of your heart, and you may be seated whenever you feel ready to do so.
Più razzoni merevi, vegio lipi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri vegoali. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Oh, say shalom bimromav, say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru
We turn to page 364 in our prayer books as we turn to our Torah service. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit.
Mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael. Bikdushotav ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlul Adonai Yitzri, Uneromema Shemo Yachdav, Lecha Adonai Hagedula, Ve'agevura Ve'hatizeret, Ve'hanetzach Ve'hahod, Ki chol b'shamayim uba'aretz, Ki chol b'shamayim uba'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, Ve'amid na'aseh lechol erosh.
You may be seated. So we are going to be reading from the Torah, Deuteronomy chapter 22, starting with verse 4. And in this Torah portion, if you look through it, it includes basically one law after another. So I'm going to be talking about only one verse from the Torah portion this week, but basically it's a lot of different laws that Moses is reminding the Jewish people of as part of his monologue, as part of his ethical will, if you will, for the Jewish people. And I'd love to invite up Marvin Belzer for the Aliyah.
Do great.
Our Baruch Hu Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Avarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam.
Right.
Asher Bacharmanu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu Et Torto. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Amen. לא תראה את חמור אחיך, או שורו נופלים בדרך, והתעלמת מהם. הקם תקים עמו, לא יהיה כלי גבר על אישה, ולא ילבש גבר שמלת אישה. כי תועבת אדוני אלוהיך כל עושה אלה, כי יקרא כאן ציפור לפניך בדרך, בכל עץ או על הארץ, אפרוחים או ביצים, והאם הרובצת על האפרוחים או על הביצים, לא תיקח האם על הבנים, שולח תשלח את האם, ואת הבנים תיקח לך, למען ייטב לך, והארכת ימים.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet. V'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Thank you, Marv. You sure koach.
Dr. Koch, thank you so much. We're going to lift the Torah for all to see. I invite you to rise and body your spirit once more.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. וזאת התורה, וזאת התורה, וזאת התורה אשר שם משה, וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל, לפני בני ישראל. וזאת התורה, 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 וזאת התורה.
You may be seated. In 1997, Kelly and Wayne began their journey as parents when they brought home identical twins that they named Wyatt and Jonas. Wayne was delighted to have two little boys. He looked forward to playing sports with them and taking them hunting. He wanted to teach them how to be men. When one of his children showed signs of gender variance at a young age, he was at a loss. Rather than being interested in cars or sports, this child was interested in the girls' aisle at Toys R Us, in makeup and dresses, princesses and Barbie dolls, and asked questions such as, "Mommy, when do I get to be a girl?" Wayne was uncomfortable, unsure about how to be the parent that his child needed. He struggled to understand and come to terms with the fact that although both of his children were assigned male at birth, one of them identified as a girl. One of his children was transgender. He had no knowledge of such things, And in a small town in upstate New York, he worried about what the neighbors thought, and for good reason. Transgender youth report significantly increased rates of depression, suicidality, and victimization compared to cisgender peers, explains the Trevor Project. In the past year, 1 in 3 transgender youth reported attempting suicide. Nearly 1/3 reported being a victim of sexual violence, and more than half reported struggling with depression. These trends are a direct result of the homophobia and lack of acceptance that they experience in everyday life. Regrettably, there are people who quote the Torah as evidence that being transgender is wrong. Lo yihiyeh kli gever al isha, v'lo yilbash gever simlat isha. A woman must not put on men's apparel, nor shall a man dress in woman's clothing. For whoever does these things is abhorrent to your God. Tonight we read these verses from Torah. And in short, this law, which appears in this week's Torah portion, is often quoted as proof that there is something inherently wrong with cross-dressing. It implies that men are men and women are women, and that is the binary through which we are commanded to live our lives. Anyone who deviates from them is doing something abhorrent. But what if that was not the intent of this commandment at all? The Torah does not explain the reasons for the intent of this law. It doesn't explain the reasons for a lot of laws. So it may have been meant to forbid gender ambiguity, or as the 12th century Maimonides explains, the prohibition of cross-dressing may have been present to forbid cross-dressing for the purpose of idol worship, or as the Talmud explains, cross-dressing is only prohibited when we represent our true gender in order to cause others harm. Otherwise, ve'ein kan tova, there is no abomination there. In other words, there is no prohibition of wearing clothes of any gender, only of misrepresenting ourselves with duplicity and the intent of causing harm. As Rabbi Elliot Kukla explains, many people feel like their true gender is not, or is not only, the gender that was assigned to them at birth. The Torah is asking us not to misrepresent our gender, which we can understand as using external garments to conceal our inner selves. Unfortunately, many transgender and genderqueer people today feel forced to hide in exactly this way. This was true of Wayne's child, whose slow process of transitioning into a girl named Nicole was thwarted early in her life. Once they accepted her true identity, Nicole's family began to work with her school to create a slow transition. First, she would grow out her hair, wear pink, and use a single-stall bathroom. Within a couple of years, she would use her new name and use the girls' bathroom. The plan was going exceedingly well until 5th grade, when a new family came to town that was deeply uncomfortable with the arrangement. Eager to avoid conflict, the school district told Nicole's family they could no longer accommodate her. Her family received threats and was forced into hiding. For 2 years, they ended up moving away to a new school where Nicole and her brother were forbidden to share their identity with anyone for fear of their safety. Such threats aren't rare. In fact, they're increasing. In 2021, it was a record-breaking year for anti-LGBTQ legislation, with over 300 bills across the country, directives by governors and government agencies that seek to diminish the rights and dignity of people who are LGBTQ. This legislation is particularly brutal to trans families. In Missouri, for example, the government sought to improve laws which would accuse parents raising trans children of child abuse and threaten to take their children away from them. They disallowed trans kids from participating in even non-competitive team sports in a form of state-sanctioned bullying, and to make it impossible for trans kids to receive the medical care that they so desperately need. Homophobia has been around forever, and I do not deny that traces of homophobia are present throughout Jewish tradition, as they so obviously exist today still. But here is what often isn't spoken about. Acceptance has also been a part of our tradition for millennia. Some of our earliest texts indicate that gender is not binary. Over 2,000 years ago, our ancestors spoke about 6 different genders that a person may have. There are stories through our tradition of gender nonconforming, queer, and transgender people being fully embraced for who they are. The tragedy is that we don't know these stories. We forget them as a Jewish people over and over again, so that every generation needs to fight for rights and respect anew. Did you know that in the 1800s, there is a story about a trans man who, upon coming out to his community, they taught him how to daven and how to live as a man so that he could fully participate in community alongside every other man? It's true. And I didn't know about it until I heard about this book, a book called A Rainbow Thread that was recently created by Noam Sienna, which documents queer Jewish texts since the 1st century. Yes, homophobia exists within the Jewish community, but so too does loving acceptance. And acceptance makes all the difference. For Nicole, her story changed when she was approached by a progressive and forward-thinking high school that would embrace her and her brother, Jonas, for who they were. For the first time, they could be safe. They could share their true selves. Nicole recalls the beginning of freshman year, when a girl named Leah made her feel so safe that Nicole felt comfortable coming out to her. Leah encouraged her to come out to other classmates and to come out to even more classmates, who, in Nicole's words, made me feel that it was the most normal thing in the world, because it is. For the first time, Nicole's gender wasn't the most important part of who she was. She was free to dream of the future, to be like every other kid. For the first time in her life, she felt secure. Being transgender is a constant challenge. Trans people are reminded of their gender at every form, in every setting, every time they need to use the restroom. Threats and homophobia exist around every turn. But our tradition teaches us that there can be another way, that despite the surface reading of today's one line in Torah, there is nothing wrong with wearing clothing of a gender other than the one we were assigned at birth. There is only something wrong with pretending to be something that we're not, or being forced to pretend because of others' fear or hatred. We, all of us, can do better. We, like the Jewish community from the 1800s, can fully accept every human being for who they are. We, like Leah, can create safe environments in which people of all genders and sexualities can be affirmed. This past summer, my friends and colleagues, Rabbi Daniel and Karen Bogart, created a new Jewish summer camp in Missouri for trans and gender fluid campers. It's a place where campers, many of whom live in red states and are facing the threats of harmful legislation, felt acceptance and respect, many of whom, for the first time in their lives, were able to just fully be. Jewish tradition asks us to safeguard each unique being created in the image of God by preventing harm, explains Rabbi Kukla. When we cover up our true souls and muffle our divine reflection under clothes that feel wrong, we are harming God's creation. That is what our Torah prohibits.
Olam chesed yibaneh, yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. Olam chesed yibaneh,
Olam chesed yibaneh, yalalai, lalai, yalalai, lai. I will build this world from love. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. And you must build this world from love. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. And if we build this world from love, yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai, then God will build this world from love. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai.
In the presence of Torah, we offer blessings of healing for people in our community and people in our hearts. And I want to invite everyone who is joining services through Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, to please write in the chat the name of anyone for whom you'd like to offer a healing prayer. And as I go around the room, I invite anyone here who'd like to offer a name to do so as well.
Suzanne Rand.
Carol Zeifman, Robin Gregson, Mark Spector, Pat Wade.
Bambi Polk and Rebecca Rothstein. So reading some of the names people wrote in the chat. Chaplain Bonnie, Jim Sarner, Daniel Page, Bonnie, and Marty Spiegel, Jennifer Hamburg-Roski, Herman and Sue Reese, Josh Strock, Dara Murdy, Randy Gallagher, Zarika Sorkin, Francine Wixon, Sandy Schickman, Faith Goldman, Joanne Lanson, Dr. Ed Scale, and Judah Rosen, Mark Hegenmacher, Carol Pratt, and Hayden Davis. Christopher Wilson. And for all the people whose names we've said out loud and all those we hold in our hearts, we offer first this prayer by Alden Salavi, and then our more traditional Misha Berach prayer. God of our mothers and fathers, watch over all who live with genetic disorders, life-threatening medical conditions, and chronic or degenerative diseases. Bless them with endurance and resilience, fortitude and hope, with opportunities to thrive and shine even as their conditions progress. Watch over them, their families and friends, our community, and all of humankind. We pray for the wisdom and insight to see each member of our community with clear eyes and an open heart. As another human being, a whole person with hopes and dreams, proud of who they are, striving to be their best selves, struggling with this life and loving it too, as we all do. Rock and shelter, grant us the ability to see each other's humanity clearly, to cherish each other's individuality, to care deeply about one another, to mourn our losses and celebrate our victories together, so that we live, act, and pray as one community of care and blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin metzadei gaver. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who strengthens our steps. Page 371.
Mikor
ata Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose healing presence is with all of those in need. And we all say, Amen.
Amen. In the presence of the Torah, we offer communal blessings, such as the Mishaberach prayer of healing. But it can also be a time to offer individual blessings for people who are taking part in all sorts of adventures or life cycle events in their lives. And this week, there was a special request because our very own Jordan is about to head off on an adventure studying in London. And so before you go, your mom requested that we offer a Tefillat Haderech prayer. So I want you to come up here for just a minute so I can offer words of blessing to you. As we will miss you, of course, but we hope that this will be such a wonderful adventure for you. Did you know you were being called up here? Maybe. You know your parents well enough, right? Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'yemotenu. May it be your will, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, that you guide Jordan safely on her journey, that you lead her in a path of peace, that you allow her to reach this wonderful experience with life and joy and peace. Protect her from all obstacles along her way, bestow blessings on the work of her hands, and grant grace and loving kindness and compassion upon her, in the eyes of all whom she encounters along the way. Blessed are you, Adonai, who watches over us on our journeys. We hope that throughout all the experiences that you're about to have in the next few months, and we are all excited to hear about them as you're experiencing them, that they will uplift you, that they will give you new opportunities to grow and explore and to find even more of your passions and joy. And I just hope that it is a fabulous experience for you.
Thank you so much.
Nasiya Tova.
Amen.
It being during the month of Elul, one other thing that we offer is our shofar blast. And so also in presence of Torah, we're going to hear it as we've been hearing all throughout this month. And I invite you to rise and body your spirit once more to take in the sound of our shofar. Tekiah. Shivarim, Teruah, Tekiah. I hope that awakens something in us as we get ever closer to the high holy days and we turn to returning our Torah scroll on page 374, so we remain standing.
Tzchaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomechea meushar derachea
As we turn towards the end of our service, we take a moment to remember people who have died in recent days and to remember people who have died at this time in years past. Today, we're mourning the loss of Leon Shehan, Michelle's dad. We're also remembering the loss of Mark Landisman, the son of Yuki and Andrew, and the twin brother of Sarah. This week, we're observing the yahrzeits of Zephora Blikrak, Jacob Casper, Pauline Cohn, Rose Cushman, Franklin Elias, Ida Fishman, Annie Friedman, Ezra Leonard Fruchter, Ephraim Hafnung, Alex Iskovitz, Evelyn Christine, Charlie Lakritz, Harry Lenzer, Ben Levin, Rose Maher, Al Manuel, Max Matlis, Annie O'Neill, Jackie Pike, Vicky Pagnus Pines, Arthur Prince, Anna Ross, Bessie Rubin, Harry Scott, Myron Sobel, Alan Subak, Brenda Sunshine, David Wield, Pearl Weinstein, Harry Weisswasser, and Morris Zamos. In memory of all the people whose names were said aloud and all the people we hold silently in our hearts, I want to invite you to rise as one community of care and compassion as we turn to page 598 to offer the Mourner's Kaddish prayer together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomachon, uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'yimbru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitzadar v'yitzalev v'yitzalal shmei dekudesha barichu. Le'ilam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'miram de'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing. And together let's say, amen.
Oh, say shalom, b'maromav, hu ya'aseh, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. I want to give a huge thank you to Marvin Belzer for doing Aliyah and being our greeter tonight, for Shelley for lighting our candles this evening, and of course to Bob Remstein for such beautiful music that he always brings to services, and all of you for being here in sacred community with one another. I hope you truly have a Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.